Jonah Jurkens.
Kelsie Huff.
Welcome back to this podcast, friends.
Welcome, friends, to this podcast.
What is a podcast called? It's
You forgot the name of our podcast
No, I did
that
not.
we've been doing for 2 years.
It's a crazy amount of time. It's Petals and Pricks. It's a Bachelor podcast. I have it right here in my noodle, Jonah.
Well, you also tattooed it to the inside of your eyelids so you would forget.
So I wouldn't forget. In my lip, my lower lip.
Why
P&P.
do people do that?
I don't know, for fun, for a party
For
trick.
fun?
And for like a hidden skill.
Could you imagine being like, Grandpa, show him your tattoo?
Petals and Pricks in your lower lip.
Proud prickhead.
Oh, proud prickhead. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guys, we're still doing it. It turns out we're still doing it. It's Colton
Sorry for the
season
hiatus.
23. Oh, no, it's just a
2-day hiatus.
Yeah, no big deal.
That was my
Jonah
fault.
had some problems.
I had car trouble, and I had to leave my car at 3 a.m, and I forgot where I parked. And Chicago's not a good city to forget where you parked your car. Mm-hmm. It's very big.
It's a big town,
city.
turns out.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a big town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you lost your car, you lost
And my
your
phone.
Turns out you were sort of living a 1960s life off the grid like you've always wanted, Jonah.
I hated it. I loved it, but I hated it, baby. It was so fun.
You had a couple hours off the grid and you're like, I don't like it.
The worst is when I re-got my phone. 2 days later, I got a phone, and then it was like, they're like, yeah, you're not going to get your text that you missed. I'm like, what the fuck? Who messaged me? In my head, I was like, Spielberg probably texted me.
This is my one shot.
Ready Player 2. I'd say no. If I got offered Ready Player
You
2,
would not.
I'd say yes in a heartbeat.
You would say yes in a
Yes, I
heartbeat.
would. And I'd say, yes, you are making all the right decisions, Steven Spielberg.
Thank you for believing in me.
Yes.
My dream is working. See what I
Yes.
did there? See what I did there? Dream works. Yeah, I hate myself. But you did this on Monday night. So
Put
basically,
me in ET2, Electric Boogaloo.
oh,
That'd be funny.
no.
That'd be funny if they had an ET sequel where it was just like ET learns how to break dance.
Yeah, well, that already happened in there's a Mystery Science Theater movie about an ET ripoff. And
That's Mac and Me.
Yeah, Mac and Me.
Yeah.
That kind of already happened with Mac and Me.
I grew up on Mac and Me.
Yeah.
So when people like shit on that movie, I get real defensive.
It's a pretty bad movie, but that's okay. There's a lot of bad movies in the 80s. No big deal.
Oh, there's so many, baby.
So, baby. Is that going to be your thing now?
I just watched
hate
a
it.
movie called Vibrations.
Okay.
Which is with Nancy. We're going way off the.
Yeah, we got to get to it.
rails
This is
here.
not supposed to be a really quick podcast.
Not for me.
Well, I'm going to leave midway through.
Here's a quick thing. It's a movie called Vibrations with Christina Applegate and James Marsden. Oh, I told you about
You
this.
told me about this.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you made me sit through a preview trailer.
That's right.
Yeah.
I watched it. It was great.
Yeah. So you guys watch it. It's about a DJ who has no hands.
It's about a musician who loses his hands in a tragic accident where all he had to do is move his hands, and he would have saved his hands, but he didn't. And then he lost his hands, becomes a wino on the streets, and then Christina Applegate picks him up, who also works marketing for
Tech.
Huh?
Tech company,
Not
right?
a tech company. Techno. Clubhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, like a techno club. And then he meets a DJ. And then she just so happens to live in a house with a famous DJ, a nerd, scientist guy, or computer guy, and then a lady who welds.
Sure.
And he doesn't have any
Flashdance
hands.
time.
Well, guess what happens? They figure out, hey, man, you could be a good DJ if we just made you robot
Metal
hands.
Yeah. So, Jonah, let's focus on the current shitty show
Not
we're
one
watching.
response to that.
No, well, I don't want us to
You
focus
just-
on another shitty show.
Yeah, but then you
We've
just-
got this shitty show to really focus on.
No.
We've got Colton's
You just
shitty
reinforced
experience.
everyone's idea of hearing me talk about that. Your
Jonah's
job
that
is
guy-
to back me up.
Jonah's that guy who comes to a party and is like, you guys, I got this really great YouTube video for you to watch. And
Yeah.
makes everybody at the party watch this 5-minute video.
Right, but then he just cups his hand a little bit on his phone so you can kind
barely
of hear
hear
it.
it.
Yeah. And then he's like, this is great.
Right, guys?
You're like, stop talking so I can hear it.
Please stop. Please stop. Anyway, so let's get into Colton. With episode 2. Let's do this.
I think
he
I'd just
has
rather
his
talk
hands.
about that than Colton.
Oh, yeah, it's true. All right, we have some big things. So,
So
let's
what do we start the show with?
We start the show.
Selfie shot, shirt off.
Yep, shower.
Oh, look at the way the sun makes my baby blues. Blew out.
That is a terrible phrase.
BLUE out.
Yeah, look at my baby blues. They're blew out.
They're bluing out.
No, we do start with that, and then
Yeah.
we do the traditional.
Hey guys, Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, guys. I woke up without my hair being messy at all, and for some reason, it doesn't look as thinning as sometimes it does.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
also, I totally have concealer on in this selfie shot. And
did you notice
also,
that?
like, if I was the camera guy, I'm like, are you kidding me? We're doing vlogs on this show now. How cheap does The Bachelor have to get? Where like now they're like, listen,
Yeah.
they're not paying their talent. They're real people.
Yeah.
Of course, we know it's not union. That nobody's doing any of this.
Right.
And now the camera guy doesn't even have a fucking job. Just be YouTube already.
You know, it's gonna be like you're a contestant on a good. Also, you're a camera woman. Take
Yeah,
this camera, go run with
exactly.
it, baby.
Go
Sorry.
run with it, baby.
I don't know why I'm saying baby so much.
No, I'm telling you, it's just going to be a DIY show, and Chris is going to make all the money.
Oh,
this is
all the money.
we're living in the now, everybody.
Yeah.
and it's really freaking me out.
Yeah, like when they were like who asked that when they're like who's the crazy what's her face? Megan asked who's the craziest on the show. I thought Colton's gonna be like Chris. He has my family hostage right now.
No, who's the crazy? Oh, the demon producer that
Yeah.
runs this show. Oh my gosh. So first off, right off the top, we talked about the vlogging situation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then if anybody's playing a drinking game about what people usually say, 2 seconds in, he said the word excited, and then 2 minutes, 30 seconds in, the cliche saying somebody said exceeded my expectations.
Oh, God damn it.
Motherfucking. Somebody,
Yeah.
I know somebody's done this in the Bachelor Nation, but somebody needs to make like a Bachelor bingo card, and every time you're live tweeting and or
Yeah.
doing it, you need to play this because everybody says the same thing over and over. You know what?
You know, 50-something Nebraska mom did that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, for
Somebody's
sure.
crushing this bingo already. Yeah.
They're like,
yeah.
Karen, do you have that bingo?
She's like, I've got it with my box of wine, Betty. And I love those people anyway. And then at the beginning, Chris says something like, he's doing his like, hey, ladies, we're here at the mansion. How you feeling? Everybody has their general answers. He's like, and then he transitions with, speaking of targets. And no one said Target. He's like, you got the, I think Chris is losing his mind, I guess, when he's saying.
Yeah. That would be
Chris
funny if
is
this was like
going
a.
through
What if
dementia.
our whole world was just Chris's like Shutter Island?
Oh, God. No.
Like we're just figments of his imagination.
Oh, my God. Bonkers.
That'd be crazy.
Or also, like, I'm watching the new True Detective, the new season, and it is about, like, memory loss. I'm
Oh,
like,
is it?
holy shit, if this is a Shutter Island / someone's, like, deteriorating brain,
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense why this
Kind
show.
of does.
Yeah.
It makes the narrative makes more sense.
Yeah.
Why it keeps repeating
Over and over and over.
but it's just slightly different.
Yeah, but not quite different at all. That's the
Yeah.
other thing about, like, we talked about, so in this episode, there are 3 comedians that enter, right? So you got Megan Mullany, you got Nick Offerman, who comes at the first group date, and then you have Billy Eichner, who comes in the second group date. And the thing about, like, introducing comedians, first of all, why are you there? But in no judgment, I get you got to take a job. I get you got to take a job. But Jonah,
Kelsie.
at least they,
Kelsie.
what?
Breathe.
I know. I know. I've had too much coffee. But like at least they add some kind of a variety. Like Billy Eichner saying a couple of like shocking things. Megan Mullany saying some shocking things.
Yeah.
They should add some of the tension. This
Yeah.
show is so formulaic. It is the most boring thing on TV. The fact that somebody
Guys,
put on,
thanks for listening to us every single week.
the fact that some lady put on a robe and did nothing, that was
Yeah.
their whole salacious thing. A lady put on a robe
Yeah.
and then nothing happened.
That was insane. How everyone's like,
She
I
put on
can't
a
believe
robe.
She is having like that's how easy it is to make that guy break his celibacy.
His celibacy is like, a lady in a robe walks in.
Yeah. Oh.
Done. Yeah.
And then like that's insane.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I think because we have been watching the show so long now, and then I think because we're making these observations that we're finding really. I sometimes I look at my notes and be like, what the fuck were you talking? This is what I have. Second note: Navy with Navy Chris.
We're just writing down colors at this point.
What the hell am I talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, I know. Chris was wearing a navy shirt with jeans. That's what he was doing. Chris, what are you doing?
Oh. So you have some
That's a
fashion
that's a
notes.
fashion faux pas.
Fashion notes from Jonah.
Faux pas.
Faux pas.
Faux pas.
Well, he does that because he needs to get that date card out. So he put
Yeah.
on Navy to get the first date card. You'll never forget your first date. So he have 8 ladies, I think. Demi Bree, Tracy, Elise, Hannah Kay, Annika, and Catherine.
Nicole. And Nicole.
Okay, gotcha. I missed somebody.
okay.
And
It's okay. Don't let it happen again.
Don't let it. Whoa. Listen,
I
you
have a
couldn't
question.
read Navy on Navy. I missed one lady.
No, I didn't know what I meant.
So first date, group date.
Well,
Go
can
to
I ask
the
you a question
theater.
before that? I know we're trying to get back, but there's one observation I made that I want to ask a question about.
Just do it for the love of Christ.
When you say something mean to somebody else or threatening, it doesn't make it playful because you raised your voice, right? That
No.
one girl was like, so you guys know, you all gonna have some competition, okay? I'm gonna murder your fam. Like you can't.
Well, I think
That's the one thing. These the girls do this more than the guys. I feel in these is where they say some really shitty stuff, but they play it like I'm playful.
Yeah. Well, because it's the thing.
That's
like,
why your mom laughed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that you're talking about, like gender dynamics a little bit. I think like
Yeah.
guys have the ability because they've been trained to be a little more assertive because they're rewarded for it.
Yeah.
Ladies are not. Like if you are just like, even if I'm just like asking you a direct question.
Yeah.
People are like, "What a bitch!" You're like, "Well, I'm just asking you a question, you know." Like,
Right.
so everybody, and you're gonna notice too, like when they have confrontations on this show, they're like, "Well, I'm just saying everything goes in an uplift,
Yeah.
everything." Like, I'm not quite sure,
Yeah.
which makes it, in my opinion, more annoying and worse.
Very.
But that's how they've been trained. Like, also, like in the corporate world. So I worked in finance. I have to. And I hate that I even have to do this. And people are like, don't do it. You have to make your emails sound friendlier. Otherwise, and I legit had this happen to me, dudes will come in my office and be like, what's wrong with you? Like if I don't make it a softer email, they're like,
They have flow vision?
yeah.
Really?
And you're like,
Seriously?
are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
So you have to like package it in a way to like protect everybody's feelings. And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So I would love people to just be like, hey, I didn't like how you did that. Hey, you know when you gave him a massage and interrupted?
Yeah.
Can you not interrupt?
I feel like
That'd be great.
I was gonna say I feel like the girls are doing that more. I don't know why I said girls, but I feel like the ladies are. I feel like these women are doing that more.
Being more assertive?
I feel so. Like last
Well, you just
last
said
week,
that all their language is very like wrapped around. Women are rewarded to be like passive aggressive as opposed to just like say exactly what they want.
But I feel some of the girls are doing that. Are taking people like with Demi a lot. They're like, hey, just let you know.
Yeah,
This
but
is what I feel.
I,
But then you're right, it gets real fake
it's
at the
we.
end.
It's always like we've all had a discussion
Yeah.
about it, and we think that you're not doing this properly. Just be like, you don't have to speak for the group,
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm not
But
slamming
that's a
on these
manipulation
ladies.
tool. It doesn't say we instead of I.
But the thing is, like, we collectively as
Yeah,
ladies
don't
have
put me
been
in
told
this. Oh.
we have no power, so you have to like work around it as opposed to being like, like listen, this is something that we've been trained to do.
Right.
Like, you got out of the crowd. You've been burnt at the stake and get your head chopped off.
Yeah.
Historically, it's not great for you to stand up for yourself. And the other thing is, with men, you reject a man, they can kill you.
Yeah.
So you have to like constantly fucking dance around, and that is like a thing where we need, as a society, need to change that. So
Yeah.
I'm not trying to blame these ladies, but it's exhausting to listen to, and it's exhausting to be a lady where you have to change your email and put a fucking smiley face and use the word just a
Yeah.
lot. I just want you to know that if you could please, I hate that I have to do it, but I've tried to be direct in emails, and people are like, "What a bitch!"
Yeah.
Isn't that so stupid?
Yeah.
Jonah, I'm having a conniption.
I know you're scaring me.
See?
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like the other thing is like we then overcorrect because we're so exhausted. Instead of trying to have like a rational conversation, everyone's like, well, women are hysterical. It's like, yeah, but you see what we're up against? We
Yeah.
can't even express our emotion correctly.
I feel like you're being hysterical right now.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you in the nads is what I'm going to do.
Oh, thank you
like,
for using the word nads.
Nads. So any snooze. And if you guys can hear something, I don't even know if you can. There's a garbage truck, but you
There's
might
a
not be able to
garbage
hear it,
truck,
so just
yeah.
ignore me. So let's talk about this first date.
Yeah, because we're
With-
taking out what you're saying with the trash.
God, you're speaking for all privileged white men right
We
now.
think that you're... Sorry.
We think that you should get back in the kitchen.
No, but using we is actually also a manipulation tactic, because you're saying that as a group, this is how we look at you, instead
Yeah.
of being like, well, I don't, because you'd be like, well, I don't agree with you. But it's like, no, it's actually we don't think that you're. It's also a manipulation tool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that you are correct, but it bums me out.
Yeah.
Because I would love for women to be able to feel comfortable standing up for themselves and for their own singular voice.
Yeah.
But historically, when that happens, shit goes bad for us.
Yeah.
I also think it is you're right, like a pack mentality. You know, and you see dudes on the show do it all the time.
Yeah.
Come be like, "Hey, guy, you know, we just talked to everybody. Like, don't do that, man. Like,
Yeah.
they do
Yeah,
that
like
as
they're
well.
talking about you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I think they use that tactic more. Like, this is what I heard that people are saying about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just some catty shit, but that's how
Yeah.
our brain works, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be kicked out of the pack because you die out there in the woods.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's part of the evolution
Like
of
the movie
brain.
The Gray.
Yeah. Yes.
yeah.
So let's get into this group date. So they're all going to the old theater. What is it? The Regent? Yeah, the Regent Theater. And it's some storytelling with Nick and Megan. Oh my
And everyone's
goodness.
like, oh yeah, it's
yeah, they sure didn't seem to recognize who they were, which
like,
is upsetting.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
She's great in that. It's like, no.
She's yeah. Well, yeah. Was it Nicole? You're right. Nicole from Miami. Really had a second to be like, I love Will and Grace.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no. Did
yeah.
You?
Well,
yeah.
she's younger.
She is younger.
Will and Grace.
But they rebooted it. They just recently rebooted it.
That's true. With fellow comedian Chris Redd.
Fellow comedian. I love that you're always plugging.
Friend.
I love this also. Show the people that you just did a stand-up show because your notes are all over the back of your hand. Oh,
no,
amazing.
actually, I'm very bad with, and I got a little cut there. I'm very bad.
A straight up scab on your hand. You guys can't see this.
This is really, Hey, this is talking scabs with.
Scab chats.
No, I'd be like, that person quit the strike. Scab.
Oh, you reached for it.
I did. I learned that in the movie Newsies.
Oh my God.
No, I had everybody's name on there because I'm bad with names, and I had to host the show last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing.
And then also write their credits.
Do you think? I don't think Megan or Nick wrote anybody's
Nick
name on there.
Offerman's on my hand.
Nick Offerman's on your hand.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the storytelling? I thought I personally thought that this was a little bit of a boring segment.
I thought it was too. I thought they did a pretty good. I would say
jam.
majority did better than I thought. And then some, they did that awkward, like, I don't know what to do. Throw the mic down. I'm like, that is an expensive mic. Don't
throw
do
the
that.
mic down.
Oh,
idiots.
I hated that.
Yeah, the drop the mic is not a literal situation.
No.
Do not drop the mic.
Never.
PSA.
PSA. People pay for that mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly stand-ups who are trying to produce their own show and have no money. If you're in Chicago.
Correct.
Yeah.
Come see our shows.
Yeah, I know, right? It did feel like an open mic. Like, it was brutal to watch.
I didn't like how they added like the mic spike when she threw the mic down. Or it was like that. And I'm like, oh, that was like
post.
That was like a Sony, like they buy like the audio tracks for like like your home movies, where you can add like a laugh track and stuff. That was clearly from that.
Foley artists, working their magic.
Yeah.
When Megan Mulaney asked Colton who the crazy one is, what were your thoughts?
Weird. That's what it is.
Chris, but after that, like. What did she say? So she is somebody I think that who watches the show that you mentioned before.
Yeah, you can
like,
tell Nick
at
didn't
this
want to
point,
be there. Nick Offerman's like, oh, and also
so many puns.
Right, when your head shaved like that, you look crazy.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's for a role. But also, have you ever seen his?
It's gotta be for a role.
Have you ever seen his Defiant? So he used to be in a theater here in Chicago, Defiant Theater.
Okay.
Have you ever seen his headshots and shit for Defiant?
No.
Whoa.
Really?
Nelly.
Whoa.
Yeah, one of them, he just has a giant wiener in it. He just has like a giant. He's like, it's demented and crazy. I mean, Defiant Theater in Chicago was known for being like balls out craziness.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bananas.
No, he was from Chicago.
Well, I don't know if he's from the Midwest, but he definitely did theater here.
Or whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, because I've seen talk shows too where him and Amy Poehler actually ran into each other while they were here together in Chicago. She was doing IO, Improv Olympic stuff, and he was just doing theater stuff. And he was very handy at the time. Like, he was like building all of their sets.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And so a friend of mine is in Defiant way after Nick Offerman left, but he was in the same theater company, and they were like legends of him like building all this massive stuff. And where the Crate and Barrel complex is? I'm sorry for everybody who's not in Chicago, but like now like North Avenue is huge. Like the Apple store is there, and that used to be like Cabrini Green, and that used to be a rough neighborhood. And I guess they would squat and then build out places over there.
Really?
And he was like building all of this stuff.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
little DIY.
Little DIY action. But this storytelling thing, like, listen, I'm a storyteller. I like it. It is, and I'm supportive of like ladies telling stories. Just to seem so manufactured of like being vulnerable and blah blah blah. It's like, not really.
Well, I didn't like the mic drop one. Well, in the cattiness of being like the drowning in bitches thing.
Yeah,
and then the girl was like, I was drowning in bitches is me, and then threw the mic down. And then the girl who's just like, I'm aggressive, I kiss people, like that.
Yeah.
But then like one girl, they shit on that one girl who was like, we both were going for the virgin, and then I didn't hear the whole story.
Tracy.
But I thought I bet you that was a very interesting story.
Yeah. They definitely probably cut a lot of it for time. The one that they showed, like they showed Nicole getting a laugh because she wanted to get a laugh. So they showed her having that tiny win. And then they showed Elise. And I think the reason that they're focusing on this because for some reason they're creating a drama between young people and old people when everybody is young. It's some bullshit. So Elise was like, hey, I'm 13 years older than you or whatever. She said she's 31. I don't know 31. The math.
From Colt? 13 years older?
I mean, she said something about dating an older guy. And
so
Colton is
18.
not 18. Yeah, but I got the math wrong. I wrote down 13 years, but I think I meant 31 and I reversed it. Anyway, and Demi is like, she's so brave to be 30.
Oh my God.
And I instantly wrote down, fuck that bitch. And then I was like, wait a second. This is clearly just, I'm not going to be sucked into this action. They need something to talk about on the show. They're making it a big deal. It's
age
so
is
dumb.
Really turning into a thing this season.
It really, they clearly need something.
Yeah.
And it's just like
the Cougar Club, all of over 27-year-olds.
Don't know what a cougar is.
Yeah.
Like, and this is the thing that I hate about this kind of show. They use gender and they use women all the time. And I get it. It's a competitive game show. I understand. I'm not naive and stupid. Don't do this shit, man. Don't reinforce this shit.
Yeah.
Women need to support each other. You are going to age. You don't need to battle each other out. We're never going to rise up if we fight. And the fact that this is happening, and then I do some like talk show stuff here in Chicago.
Crisis again.
It's not a crisis. It's frustration.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
We are always like, oh, should this woman be allowed to do this? It's just exhausting. And why are we still doing this in 2019?
Because women be shopping.
Oh man, I'm going to hit
women be shopping.
Your nards are going to
be
bruised
shopping.
by the end of this. So yeah, I didn't find it that amusing. I also found it boring. So like, if you're even gonna try to get me all riled up in a salacious manner for reality TV, I'm like bored, not working.
It was boring. I agree, and not interesting. But to me, the interesting part was like, man, you're really gonna eat those words when you watch this. Where it's like, that girl's so brave. Well, she probably won't. She's too naive to realize that she sounds like an asshole.
Yeah,
but,
which they do comment on later.
Yeah,
I can't remember. I don't know if it was Elise or somebody. Someone was like, "Does she not have parents?"
Yeah, that was so funny.
I was like, "Oh, one of them's in the clink."
Nice move.
I know. I was like,
yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, but that's when everyone thought that she's naked underneath there. But that also, she just wanted everyone to. She just likes to stir up some drama.
Yeah, I mean, which is again the whole point of the show. I get it. Like, it's like, why are you even complaining? You know the show that you're watching.
How'd you feel about?
They're just not doing it well anymore.
I think we're just been watching it for so long.
But so have everybody who's listening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, listen, if you want to continue to have a base, an audience base, you need to do something different, man.
I don't think their numbers are dropping.
I don't know. I think after Nick that they dropped.
Yeah.
And they're real kind of scrambling here.
I kind of miss Nick.
Well, I'm sure he'll show up again in his little hobbity way.
That'd be from the door open. He's like, "Do you guys say you miss me?"
Do you guys say you miss me?
I'm sorry, you talking about me?
I'm just hanging out in Hobbiton, getting some tweets, getting some Insta
sorry,
followers.
my Spidey sense came out that someone was talking about me. How'd you feel about Colt's story? Colton's story.
Oh, you mean the story that we've already been shoved down our mouth 17,000 times?
Yeah, but
We've
like I thought it was
1,000 times.
yeah.
He's really staying on brand.
Yeah.
He's not making it different. He's not giving us any information. No. This is the thing about fake vulnerability for reality TV. They're also sticking to their talking points. So that's not vulnerable. You're not taking a risk if you're just doing the thing that your PR person told you to say over and over again.
I mean, this is like, yeah, you're correct. Yeah. This is one of those things where I'm like, it's not worth the battle.
Pick those battles, Jonah. So anything else to say about this group date? Obviously, we have Demi doing the big smooch, and people are like, how dare she? Even though we're on a reality TV show and a game show where you're supposed to smooch people. Yeah. People are like, she forced it on him. Again, they're trying to stir up shit that I just don't feel is working.
You know, just go get yours.
Go get yours.
Go get yours. If you
Hashtag go get yours.
Well, I think that's the thing too. I think a bit in her brain, she's like, oh, there wasn't a girl aggressive enough to. So I'm gonna play the aggressor.
Mm-hmm. Which is what she's talked about in her one-on-one.
And I think he kind of likes it. You can tell he kind of likes it. You know? Yeah. I mean, she's a pretty girl and who's like showing that she's really into him. I bet he's gonna go a little overboard. And he's gonna be like, now you just seem kind of desperate. You know what I mean? Pull back a little bit.
Play that game. Play that game show.
Teasing. Oh, it's not yours anymore. Tease. It's not yours. It's yours. It's not yours.
Oh, Jonah.
You want to hang out? You know what?
That's some gender shit I don't like at all.
Nah, it's manipulation shit. It's not gender shit. That's like straight up like power games. We've talked about this on the podcast.
You're saying tease and not and tease and not.
Yeah, because, well, no, it doesn't matter what gender you are. If you give too much of yourself to somebody, you seem desperate, and the other person will just not. Everybody wants like to work for it a little bit.
Well, I think what you're talking about,
like,
I know what you're talking about in the fact of like desperation actually seems
it's
like
a weakness.
There's something where I think your spidey senses go up.
Yeah.
When you're like, there is this human thing of like they need too much.
Yeah.
I think the like the use of like tease and not tease and like no. Like as far as like courting, there is a game to be played.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm talking about.
But I'm saying like. This happens in friendships too, when like somebody's like, "Are we meeting on this date? What time?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Whoa,
why haven't we hung out in a while? What's going on?" Yeah,
you know where I get like, if you're like too thirsty, something's like, I don't need friends who are so dependent on me that they can't survive. Like that makes my spidey senses go up.
Yeah,
but I feel like this. Being like teasing, like I for some reason, I just don't play the dating game well.
Well, there's
that's
a difference
why I'm
between
like,
teasing.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a difference between like that's the thing too. It's like it's the whole like the classic like wait 3 days until you call because you don't want to sound as guys or girls, and you just don't want to sound needy. You also don't want to sound like you're not giving it away, but like where it's just like it makes it lowers your worth.
I guess
It does. It's like the same thing. It's the same thing. Like if I'm constantly like, we all, as comedians, independent comedians, like we run our own shows. But it's like the same thing as like if we're or in any
you're
business,
constantly promoting
free. Yeah, if you're constantly like you gotta come, or it's free, please come. Like people are like they already have a very low outlook on your product. And that's the thing too. If you're constantly like, I want to hang out. What's going on? I'm like, and then it's just like you're lowering your self-worth.
And I think like to frame it a little more. And I know this is not like actually for the show because people are there for him.
You're gonna get the same essence in 4 words. I know you will. You do it every time.
No. I feel like you just have to have your own life going on.
Yeah.
Male or female, gender or not.
Right.
Gender, if you have your own thing going on and then you're like want to invite someone in, cool. There's not that sort of desperate thing. But on the opposite end of that, like, and again, I'm not somebody who dates, so I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, I don't know the rules.
Yeah, you're married.
But it's like you found somebody you liked. I never followed those rules.
No, I don't think you should follow the quote unquote rules, but I think there is.
I had a life. He had a life. We were excited to spend time together.
Yeah.
So we did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it felt organic. Now, I'm not saying there were hiccups and stuff, but there was never like, oh, I'm going to tease him and then I'm going to wait 3 days and I'm going to follow this manual and then I'm going to swipe on somebody else and show him. Like, I never did that.
Oh, like the jealousy thing, you mean?
I never did the game.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I'm not an expert on talking about it. It doesn't
so why
work
don't you shut your mouth, Kels?
Would you go back into the kitchen?
No, I'm just saying there
neck punch.
there are. Can we get that garbage truck back here, please?
I don't know. Listen,
I hear what you're saying.
This is a concept of a game show, and it's a dating game show.
Right.
So people are going to do gender norms because that's what we've all been taught to do. It just makes my skin crawl, which we already know. So we can probably move on about it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Nailed it.
So anyways.
Anything else to say about this group date before we move on to the one-on-one? Because that's the next step.
Use your words, Kels.
I am using my words.
I know, very quickly.
I know, audience.
No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, guys. I've had coffee, but we
I
also
am messing with you.
have 20 minutes.
Well, the only thing I thought was funny is that when Colton said his thing where he was really nervous about saying it to his fellow. This is like high school Jonah thought this, where it was like where he was just like, yeah, I'm never really. When the guy was like, how many girls you slept with, which is probably not a conversation that happens a lot, where you're like, hey, what's going on? How many girls you slept with?
Yeah.
Not a real conversation. And then he's just like, I never slept with anybody before. And the guy's like,
that's so cool.
That's so cool. And I think the guy probably was like, no. I said, that's so cool that you're willing to come out of the closet for us.
Yeah.
That's amazing that you trust us.
I would assume in a locker room, someone's not like, I really appreciate your vulnerability.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's when Billy Eichner was just like, or you're gay. And then he's like, football.
Yeah, you might be the first gay bachelor. We don't even know it. Use that in your promo.
I love
like,
that.
Billy
I was like,
Eichner, bam.
whoa. And you could tell Colton was like,
Although Colton was laughing a lot at his jokes. That's the thing.
Oh, he liked. I think Billy was the most him the whole time.
Yeah.
Because we see these comedians go on, and sometimes you're like, okay, it's kind of like
It's rough to watch.
Yeah.
And he really called out the things of like, I wanted to be on the Goldbergs, but instead
That's
I
so
got
funny.
this. I was like, boom, nailed
I
it.
just wanted to guest on the
Goldbergs,
Goldbergs.
and I guess I got this.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've been around virgins? Well, I guess I was a guest on The View. It's like, boom.
Yeah.
Like he is very much doing solid tweets.
Yeah.
Solid one-liners.
yeah.
He was there to do his job, and he did it really well.
You're right. He was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that is so great about these comedians is they're adding some kind of surprise element. Even if it's like very quick, very brief, and not like the most revolutionary jokes or whatever, but they're adding some kind of tension and surprise. This show has no surprises left.
No.
None. It is so formulaic. There is no surprise, and that's why people are watching. And I guess Billy Eichner did his job very well.
That's why I think you get like I thought Corinne was kind of nice.
Just because she was a crazy.
Yeah, she kind of like when people are like, who cares about the camera? I'm just gonna be me. Those are always fun to be around. You know what I mean? To watch. You didn't, but like I liked. Oh, now I forget her name. Caitlin season. That's right before we started watching, where she was just like, that's how Nick got back in introduced. Where she was just like, oh, I want Nick to be on the show now, and they're like, oh, okay. Like I think she kind of was like, no, I want this to happen, and they kind of like kept it up. I haven't seen anyone. We haven't really seen anybody do that, other than Ari. That's a whole other conversation. Mm-hmm. Where he's just like, I made the wrong decision. I'm gonna go here or there. They got married this week, by the way.
They're having a baby.
Huh?
Are they having a baby?
Well, they got married. Is that why they got married?
I thought it was on social media they're having a baby. Is this a joke? Prickheads, let me know. Did I misread, or was this like a punked thing?
Didn't we see them have a? Oh God, we're dumb. This is.
You know
everything's
what?
melding together.
If I'm dreaming about The Bachelor and just made that up,
I really hope you
I'm
are.
really going to be done with this podcast.
I would love.
If it's going into my subconscious and I'm dreaming about them having a baby, I hate my life right now.
I would love if you.
Oh my God!
In a year, you know, what'd be my favorite is in a year if you like kind of came to and you're like, I didn't realize this. I don't know. I think I need to see help because I've been writing Bachelor fan fiction.
Oh my God.
On my
or,
blog.
you know, this is like, you know, speaking of like dementia and
Yeah.
and, like True Detective, what if I get some sort of dementia in my old age, of course, and this is where I go back to.
Oh, that
if I
was just thinking
only
that.
remember Bachelor stuff.
Oh, this is just your
Jesus
life. You remember?
Christ.
Yeah.
Oh no,
I
this is
know.
making me sad. Like I remember
And then
nothing else.
You just look at
but
Jason.
fucking Colton and Ari.
You just look at Jason
Oh
and you're like,
my
Chris
God,
Harrison?
no!
Chris? Oh, please. I'll start hitting in your head right now just to make sure this happens to
Oh
you.
my God. And that's how Demon Chris wins in the end.
Yeah.
I've gotten your mind and your soul. Oh God.
Yeah, what if there's like a Fred Cougar type thing where this is actually a nightmare?
I love that you call him Fred.
Hey, he's an older guy now. He's an older guy. Respectable. Old Fred. Old. I don't think it was that funny, but all right.
God.
Old Fred Krueger.
Oh, Fred Krueger. You know, Fred down the block. You know, he's got the spiky nails.
Yeah, Fred Krueger.
Good old Fred.
Yeah.
You know? But he calls him Fred Krueger. Holy Christ. Okay, let's move on.
Sure.
Can we talk about Hannaby's date?
Yeah.
One-on-one is the next action. You know, and there's some group date stuff about Tracy and Demi. We don't care about this, right? It's too boring. It's too boring.
We agree
to
that
talk
that's
about.
a Star is Born hat. Oh, we talked about that.
Yeah, there was a lot of hats. There's a lot of hats on that. On the show, we got some fedoras. We got some cowboys. We got some floppy hats. People are really, really
heavy?
rocking hats. I gotta say, in general, I'm no fashionista. As you can see, I'm wearing a wrinkly flannel and
People
my
are
bangs
listening to us right
greasy.
now in their car, bud. Bud.
But hats are usually a bad idea. Fashion hats.
I'm wearing a
Wouldn't you
hat.
say?
I'm wearing a current hat. Fashion hat. I like tiny hats.
Fashion
I'm a
hats?
tiny hat guy.
Tiny hats. You mean like a tiny little top hat, like you're at a burlesque?
It has a little thing like they make the bears wear when they drive around the unicycles.
A little circus hat.
No, I wear like a
Generally
little
speaking, I think hats are
a
kind
little
of.
cadet hat. I know it's kind of out of style, but I like it. I think
Yeah,
I look
I know
nice
that
in it.
you're a hat guy.
I'm a hat
I find
guy.
like maybe because I have a big head.
Yeah.
I feel like hats in general. You know, like what is it that rule? Like you walk out of your house and you have to take one accessory off. That's like a.
Huh?
Is that like Coco Chanel? She's problematic, but you know, Coco Chanel's
You
thing
have
is
to take
like,
off an accessory?
Yeah, that's
You think
like
she'd
the
want
fashion
you
rule.
to add accessories?
No, the fashion rule is to like look in the mirror and take off one accessory before you go out the door. It's a good editing trick in stand-up also, by the way. Not physically, but with words. Anywho, I would say the hat's probably the first thing to go.
Really?
If
But then
I'm
you got
voting,
hat hair.
I'm voting, don't put on the hat.
I always bring a hat just in case it gets a little windy.
Wow, look at this. Look at this salacious topic we're on.
Yeah.
To hat or not to hat?
Tis the
You're
question.
hatting.
You're hatting. No, you're hatting.
I'm not into hats. No big deal.
So what about Heather?
Heather, not Heather. We're not at her yet. We got this one-on-one date with
I'm
the
sorry.
beauty queen.
Yeah, beauty queen.
Hannah B date. They go off in an orange Jeep. Colton's driving. Again, cutting costs. Nobody gets a driver anymore on this show. You got to drive your fucking self.
Yeah.
Hold the camera. Drive yourself.
I think they also they try to make it seem like, hey, Colton owns his car, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't.
It got awkward. That was not a great
Well,
date.
Jay Leno's like, hey, use my car. Hey.
Jay Leno.
It's Jason.
Let's talk about this date real fast.
Yeah.
Nervous and brutal. Not very natural. It was her birthday. That's kind of all that she could talk about. They talk about like potentially having like issues with perfection, and then they cut back to the house, and they have Kaylin, which is they're setting them up as like beauty pageant rivals.
Yeah.
Having like she's fake and blah blah blah, or she cracks under pressure, and then cut to her not having a good date. He's disappointed. Everything's weird.
Yeah.
They're in a hot tub. It's weird. They're riding a horse. It's weird. They're in a desert. It's weird. It's continually weird.
It's weird. And I did like that he was like, ugh, this is, and like even you could tell. See, I think that was a pretty real moment when she was just, I've been there where you're like, you think things are going okay, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you're like, oh my God, and you kind of just like spiral where you're like, I am fucking this up. And you're just like, how do I get out? How do I get out? And then you just kind of stare.
Kind of stare off.
She just kind of stared. And then you both are just kind of looking off in different. That's always an awkward moment.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes when you're dating somebody that you're not really that into, but you kind of whatever, and all of a sudden you have that moment in dinner where you're like, we just ran out of everything to talk about. You just kind of sit and stare.
Yeah, I of course have had this experience in my life, right? But I'm such a chatter, and I do like to genuinely listen.
Yeah.
This does not happen to me very often.
Well,
even when people who are
even
like
before you started
dull
performing?
as dice.
Even before you started performing.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm
That's
somebody.
good.
I'm somebody who can go into a party, and I don't know if this is good or not. I'll just I'll talk to anybody.
Oh, I shut down in parties.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, what's your name? Like, oh my God, would you like this dip? Like, I'm annoying. You know what I mean? Like, I think my anxiety.
That's good dip, huh?
My anxiety manifests outwardly. Like,
Okay.
I'm very much also, and I know this because of all the Briggs-Myers tests I've taken. I'm an extrovert, so I work it out here in the ether.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I'm shy and awkward and things happen and I do go into myself, like, especially if I'm around, like, I feel like people of authority,
Yeah.
you know, like people in suits with money. If I'm walking into, like, a corporate event, I, of course, get nervous. No big
Okay.
deal. Like, I feel like I don't belong.
Yeah.
But in regular folks, this doesn't happen to me very often.
Regular folk, huh?
Yeah, like I feel like, and maybe I'm gonna bite myself because I know that they're instant. But even like, so for example, when Jason and I were first friends, right? I was dating another person who was his friend at the time. His car broke down.
Love that story.
We were stuck together for 8 hours, and there
Yeah.
was a moment I'm like, holy shit, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about for 8 hours. It was fine, and Jason is a quiet
Jason's real
man.
quiet. Yeah.
He does not like. I'm like, this is gonna be pulling teeth. Holy
Yeah.
shit, how am I
Yeah.
gonna get this guy to talk to me for 8 hours?
Yeah.
It was fine, and I feel like.
I think in a situation like
It's
that,
fine.
it's fine. But I think sometimes in like a dating situation, there's more pressure added.
Yeah, and I think that's because I've never really dated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I know this is like a very odd thing to be in 2019 and not have really dated.
Yeah.
I drank a lot. I goofed around. I wasn't ever really good. I'm not good at that. Like, so
Really?
maybe I would be really bad at like a first date. Like, what's your name? What do you do for a living? How's
Yeah.
your family? I just feel like I like to talk to people and I like to hear their stories.
Yeah.
And mostly people just want you to listen. That's the real trick of conversation. Most people want you to listen. And if you can listen, genuinely listen to people, you'll have a fine interaction.
What?
Yeah. You got to work on your skills.
You saw that in my.
I
You
know.
saw that.
I saw your joke coming before it was coming. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I understand like the idea of perfectionism, which I think that somebody who is like a pageant queen probably has to deal with her whole life. It's like you want to say the perfect thing. You want to be perfect. You want it to be so special. I think for me, like my expectations of things is like,
Yeah.
like I don't have a like, shit's never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
That is a lie.
I feel like
You
it's
can't.
like Pong. Right? reference.
I'm following it.
What? It's like you're pinging off each other, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you should listen, but then listening is also reacting. Mm-hmm. But if you're like talking to somebody and they're just like you like are talking, and then that doesn't inspire. Like each thing needs to inspire the next word, right, or next thing. So the problem is, I got another cat on my lap. I'm gonna be on Shark Tank with a cat on the lap.
So you're saying if there's no banter, it can die?
Yeah, sometimes where you're just like stuck in your
course.
thing where you're like all of a sudden you start asking, "Where'd you go to high school? Oh, what did you study?" And you're like, "I don't want to. This is like, come on, let's have a." I shut down sometimes on that, and then I shut down like it. House parties.
Okay, explain.
Jurkens is not good at house parties.
Really?
I don't know why.
Do you
never
feel
good?
that you
Bars good at. Very good at talking to people at bars. House parties, I don't know.
Is it too intimate or something?
I don't know. Maybe I get back into like a high school mode where I'm like real quiet. Also, it's a better opportunity to like watch people. Sometimes I get caught just like watching and listening. You know.
Well, I also think that is okay.
I'm not the one at a house party being like, "Guess what?"
Yeah. Well, that's not how
But
I
I'll
am
be
at
like
a house
that at a
party
bar,
either.
not like in an asshole way, but I'll be like that more at a bar.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I walked into a party. I'm like, "What's up?" You know, like an '80s movie where like, nah. No, but I can like chat. You know
Okay.
what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
I'm like, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Yeah.
But I feel like I also am okay with like just sitting for a second and then like watching and seeing where I fit in.
Yeah.
And then moving to where that would be. You know what I mean?
Good, yeah.
Like I'm.
It's real strategic.
Yeah, or like I can just like flow with it. And I think it's in my experience with high school, we have very different experiences in high school, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm someone who's very involved in stuff. I didn't want to be home, so I was very active. I was very like I was a floater. Like I never really had a group. I was also somebody who wasn't like you seem to have a negative experience. Like you're always talking about like I lost weight, like I was a big kid and then I lost weight. Like I was rejected, I think, early on, somewhere along the line, and something in my brain said, fuck it.
Okay.
I don't know where it happened.
Yeah.
I really can't figure out where it happened because I know I was hurt by people, but I was never really bullied. I never really did that. I think it's also because I grew up and it was so shitty at home.
Yeah.
It was so shitty at home that I'm like, oh, you're going to fucking make fun of my pants? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And I don't think that, like, people didn't smell that on. Like, they must have smelled, you know what I mean? Like, the herd of, like, bullies must have smelled it on me. Like, I was not an easy pickings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, yeah? I had to hide in my closet so I didn't get cracked in the face. Were you going to make fun of my pants? Go fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, ooh.
Punch in the nards.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I didn't have that experience. So I think social those issues has never been an issue
social
for
anxiety?
me. I for sure have it, but I think it manifests and I can fake it in a way that it doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I have like I think sometimes I don't know if it's a social anxiety anymore, but I definitely have like times where I don't know if I'll shut down, but like my shyness kicks in with certain people,
For
or
sure.
my wanting to just like watch from an outsider's perspective, because like I would say in my high school, by the end of high school, at my high school, I was like accepted by like maybe the quote unquote what I thought were the cooler kids.
Yeah,
like I got to
that's
sit
what
at
I'm
table, but I was
yeah.
never involved with them.
Yeah, but I think
Like,
that's
I
what
was
your experience is different from mine.
outside. I was always kind of like the outer layer.
Yeah.
You know, where I was like, okay, but like no one would be like, Jonah, what's going on? Like, but then in a different high school, it was the complete opposite, where I was like in that group of people that were they're more popular. But as a completely but it's like it's just a different world I fit into better.
Yeah, I feel like your social training has been different than mine. Like you worked to become accepted, and you were. Where I very early was like, I don't really care, and I was sort of left to do whatever I wanted.
I
don't even know if I was accepted, to be honest with you. I just kind of floated, right? And like I was never, it was also real small town. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a different thing. So I sort of navigated independently in a bunch of different ways. I was never trying to be perfect to be accepted.
Okay.
And I think like, and I was never a pageant queen. You know what I mean? I'm not like, I was never, and I know you get rewarded as a woman if you're in a pageant, if you're very, petite and sort of smiley and very polite and very upbeat, like that perfection. I could see how if you are trained in that way, it would be hard for you in social situations because you're always in your head about being perfect. You're always in your head about being accepted. And sometimes it works and you're rewarded, but sometimes you freeze.
Yeah.
And I just don't have that experience. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. And it turned out, they went to the Queenberry boat at the end, and she did open up a little bit. They talked about like their sort of experiences or lack of experiences with virginity, because that seems to be like the conversation. And they talked about not being perfect.
We could tell it, I think, like in that same conversation too, which I thought was good because she opened up, and then you could tell that like she kind of like finally was like, okay, now I can talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he even was like, this is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
This is all I really want. I don't need you to be a certain person. Just be you.
And to be fair, everybody does have their guards up at first, which,
How
of
couldn't
course.
you?
Like, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm so great at socially navigating. No. Like, of course you have your guards up. You're a human being. You're trying to protect yourself a little bit. This was so weird about this show. It's like they instantly want you to be open and vulnerable. Very awkward, right? Like very awkward. Like, tell me the deepest, darkest secret you have right now, so that we can connect on this like date in one day. It's like, whoa, it's bananas. So I'm glad that they kind of like, it was, relaxed into it a little bit. And at the end, of course, there were fireworks. I was very surprised that she had a favorite firework.
She said that.
She said that one's my favorite firework.
That's what you do as a kid. You don't know that?
My question was,
the first one you go,
do you have a
the
favorite?
second one you go, ah, and then the third one you go, that's my favorite.
I didn't know there was
That's a
firework
thing.
etiquette.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh, that's my favorite.
Well, she crushed it.
Yeah, she did.
So she got the rose.
Yeah.
And then Elise got the rose on the first date.
Yes.
And then anything else you want to talk about with this one-on-one before we go
The
quickly?
last comment I just want to be like, I thought it felt the most genuine of this episode.
Okay.
That whole arc.
Yeah.
I thought it was very.
So you were into it. You were
I
starry-eyed.
was into it.
Yeah.
At first, because I was like, my hands were over my eyes, like watching that. I was like, this is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen. I'm like, oh God, this is bad. And then all of a sudden she like opened up, and then he was like, yeah, there you go. And then smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing. Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit, but the next group date that we go on is the summer camp date, which is a big deal because the two teams, red or yellow, very McDonald's. One of them wins. They get to have a sleepover camp with Colton, which they also have their different cabins. But like everybody was like, oh, how dare they? Something could happen there. Oh, risky. And that was a no boys allowed situation at the end. So nothing salacious happened.
No.
So just so everybody knows.
Yeah. I thought that was just like that's a segment.
Yep, that's a thing.
But I will say, I don't know if I said this on the podcast. We talked about this before. I forgot how dumb I am, and I watched that, and I was like, "Whoa, Colton can really throw a football." Oh,
right.
Yeah. That's his profession.
And we do talk about that's where Billy Eichner comes in to be the camp counselor. We talked about that a little bit. Yeah,
that's all I really remember from that segment.
Yeah, and then the big thing is like after they did their three.
But why was that one girl wearing a tutu?
You said that before, the yellow tutus. I thought there was another. Have you ever done summer camp? There was like funky things. I wasn't bothered by the tutu.
No, I never did.
You were bothered. You never went to summer camp?
I think I went to like a day summer camp.
Oh, okay.
Or just for a couple hours.
Yeah. I went to church camp. It was the worst.
You went to church camp?
Ugh, it was so
what was
bad.
it called?
I don't even remember. It was Lutheran. I went to 2. Ugh, they were both really bad. And as you guys know who listen to the podcast, I'm not somebody who's very religious and or spiritual. And really, it's because of church camp.
Yeah, really?
I learned how to hate in church camp.
I think mine was a church camp situation too, and I actually liked it.
You liked it? Because I think
I kind of liked church for a little bit for a part of my life.
Yeah, I can understand it. Like, listen, like there's a community. It's the camp is supposed to be fun.
I like the
all
arts
this
and
kind
crafts.
of stuff.
That's fun.
Like all that stuff is great.
Yeah.
It was just the stuff about like your sins, you're going to hell. I mean, I had a thing in church
I
camp.
never went to anything that was like that.
It was
like
bananas.
That.
Like
really?
we had a night where we had to dress up. We walked in, and like it was like the Last Supper. I mean, it was like. I'm like,
God.
Is the Kool-Aid going to be fucking poisoned? Like, I was nervous. And at the end, we had to write our sins in a piece of paper, put them in an envelope, and then they fucking torched them.
What?
Like, burning shit at the cross like a clan. It was not cool. And it's like, you're free. Your sins are cleansed. People are crying. And I'm like, I'm the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah.
This is
like
not
that.
for me. No, it was not cool. Church camp is the reason I don't like things.
Okay.
Anyway, so that wasn't S camp. It was more like smooch camp. It was more like finger banging camp, which I think is what a lot of people do at camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of the deal. This is where we were also told that Heather has never kissed before, and she was very nervous about telling him. And he was like, "Oh, cool, no big deal." How do you think he reacted to the smooch?
Did they smooch?
No, the not smooch is what I'm trying to say. So
I think he was like
nervous.
weirded out about, and that's when I was like,
what a hypocrite.
ooh, I hope he could become such a douchebag about this.
Yeah,
That'd
he was
be
like, Thank you so much for telling me. And
but
then,
also, even when she said that before, and she's like, I never kissed anybody. I'm like, how? You're 21.
yeah, I don't know.
That's not a thing.
It's got to be religion. It's got to be nerves.
She's so pretty.
Well,
I'm sorry to make it into that, but like, there's no way.
Gingivitis?
I think she smells bad.
I don't know. Or maybe, I mean, you can be really shy.
Not that shy. I bet you something happened in her childhood.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be something. But
Something.
to be never...
Poor girl. Not to kiss anybody?
Yeah.
I'm all for taking, like, if you want to be celibate, totally okay with that.
Yeah.
But if you're not smooching, if you ain't smooching...
Yeah, I remember too, like just being like, get it over with. See, I'm the worst when it comes to this. Because I remember being in middle school and be like, oh, just get it over with. Like, just fine, just do it. Like,
really?
I just want to, yeah. And I remember Jake
Did
Anderson.
you make up that in that way? Like, fine,
no,
make up.
but I was like nervous, excited about it. But it wasn't like, oh, let's do a thing. And it was just like I have a dolphin having a seizure. I was like, oh, this guy's bad
kissing's,
at it.
all kissing's bad at first.
Yeah, but again, of course, you're in middle school. But you know what I'm saying? Not even that of just like an experience of like, oh, let's go for it. And I wasn't even somebody who was like focused on getting a boyfriend. Like I was like, all right, let's just
Kissing's
go
kind of
for
nothing.
it.
I guess it's kind of big at first.
Yeah, but just like check it off the list.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a little strange. But if you're really sheltered, you know what I mean? If you're very sheltered, perhaps.
If it says social media influencer underneath her name next time, I'm gonna throw something through my TV.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to know a story, and I don't want to like make fun of somebody, but it does. It's just a little odd. It's just a little odd, and then also to be sort of like public about it. Not that you should like live in shame. That's not what I'm trying
It'd be funny.
to say.
She was just like, I'm not kissing anybody, and he's like, oh my god, I can't. That's amazing that you're also chose so long to be celibate. She goes, oh no, I fuck. Yeah. I fuck.
Like an old timey Western prostitute, like not on the lips, babe.
Oh no, I get it in. Okay, I've been getting it in since. I don't want to say the next word.
Yeah, you almost said preschool or something crazy, which is not great.
Not
but that happened. And then Katie and they talked about having a competitive family. I like when people have organic conversations on the show.
Yeah,
that was a good
like
conversation. They were just like chatting, and I like that.
I like the conversation. I forget who had it. The conversation about. Well, first off, I thought it was really funny. And one girl was like, "Am I gonna get picked? Am I gonna get picked for the second group date?" I'm like, "Yeah." You're the group that's left over. Am I going to get picked? I don't know. Am I going to get picked? Yeah. You're all that's left.
You don't know how winning works.
And then she gets pictures. Oh, thank God. I'm like, yeah. You were going to get picked. And then when those girls found out that they get to have a sleepover, and then the one girl was like, that's so intimate. And the girl's like, it is intimate. And then the girl goes, intimate. I could watch them do that back and forth for probably
like just a weird
2 minutes.
Like what is that exercise? Like an acting
thing?
exercise?
Yeah. Like it's so intimate.
Intimate.
It's intimate.
Intimate? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is that anyway?
It's ever so intimate.
Ever so intimate. So then they have the cocktail party, right? Can we move to the cocktail party before the rose ceremony where they're kind of chatting?
Can I say one thing really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
The one thing I'm realizing, I have a start next to it. I'm realizing with this Colton version talk is that he's getting better and better at it every single time, and it just reminds me of every relationship ever. I feel like.
Explain.
I think relationships are just like a Groundhog's Day situation.
Where you're just repeating yourself over and over and every day.
You kind of are.
Like a job
you're
interview?
improvising differently. Yeah, where you just get better and better at it, and your stories get tighter, and you know what things are like express right away first, and then like how to kind of grow. It just, to me, relationships are the same thing, just you're getting better at it as you go along.
I feel like that is the difference between you and me, because you're more of a serial monogamist than I.
True.
You date, Jonah. You haven't been alone since you've been like 13.
That's not true. It's been 16.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I've been alone.
You like to be. Listen, this is no shame in the game. I'm not trying to shame you here.
Yeah.
But you are somebody who likes to be coupled up.
I'm not somebody who's looking for it though.
You're like, I'm just charming as hell. But you are looking for it.
I'm a great catch. Why would I not do that to somebody?
Listen, I'm not. I knew this is gonna get weird. And also, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But you're somebody who approaches relationships differently than some people. You are somebody who wants to be in a couple. You like to function in a couple.
I think also I just really like the movie Groundhog's Day. And I was like, you just keep working on it until you become the best you, and you find out it was there all along.
You.
It
was always you, Jonah.
It was always you. Where's that from? It was always you.
I don't know. Probably some 90s reference, because that's all you got.
Oh, don't look at the movies behind us.
All right, let's move on to this cocktail party, shall we?
So you disagree with that?
It's not my experience,
Okay.
but I think it is your experience, and somebody who does that, I'm sure you're finding yourself with people. You're somebody who is very and correct me if I'm wrong here. You need a mirror of somebody to see yourself and grow as a person.
But I think
feel
also
like you're
the thing too is like relationships are kind of a repeat of the same conversations over and over and over again.
Because you're the same.
Right.
If it wasn't,
and you're sharing
you'd
the same
be
things.
a con artist and it'd be a liar.
Yeah, right.
Like you're
if, like,
saying who you are over and over.
Yeah, like when like
Same with friendships.
Ex-girlfriends get together and like, yeah, I never met his family in Arkansas. They're like, Arkansas? I thought he grew up in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hawaii? He told me he was in Italy.
Yeah, you're not a sociopath.
And that's when Demi is just like, that's how my mom got caught.
Yeah, my mom was really good at like changing relationships and also getting credit card numbers.
Yeah.
Any snooze. So we talked about this cocktail party a little bit. So the big kind of reveal is that Demi's in a robe, which you think like, oh, we're going to get crazy. Obviously we don't. She has a massage. Tracy gets upset because they're the two like sort of competing people. They're having Hannah B and the other gal, of course I'm forgetting her name, the pageant queen, and then Tracy and Demi being like the young gal on the block and like the old hag who's only 31.
Yeah, it's only 31. Who's like, I'm the oldest one here. It's like there's 3 of you that are 31.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah,
and then there's sort of making
figured it
like
out.
Sydney and
Cougar Club.
Annika like having a thing with the like blowhorn and the pots, but that just seems like nothing.
I did like when she was like, because I want to get horny, right?
Right.
And she's like, he didn't like it either.
Yeah, like we're trying
I
this
love
joke
that.
out.
When you're like, it was a thought.
Yeah. I do love that you got to see a chef when she was explaining, or somewhere in that segment of pot smashing, they go into the kitchen and there's a chef there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy in an apron and I was like,
Look
oh, I
behind
love
the
that
scenes.
behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what's that chef's name?
Yes, that's Nick.
Nick in a suit, he just lifts it up. Oh, God.
And he just looks up, he's like, I'm friends with Elijah Wood. How are you?
Do you want a canapé?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I liked when Demi, this is the funniest thing is when Demi walked up and she goes, hi, excuse me, can I interrupt? With her air quotes.
Air quotes.
It's like,
Nobody-
you're interrupting.
Yeah.
Does
she have parents? Why don't they teach her grammar?
No, she doesn't. Her mom's upstate.
No, well, that's the whole joke.
I would love.
Does she not have parents?
I would love the thing where like she like hides Colton and then just instinctively gets his wallet out of his pocket.
Yeah,
or like
she's a
steals
real
his watch.
artful
And she's like,
dodger,
hey,
that
is this your watch?
Yeah. Oh, God, we should be making jokes. But what else?
Okay, so let's be honest. Okay. I know we gotta finish up, but like, what do you think's gonna happen when that reveal finally happens to Colton?
That her mom's in jail?
Yeah, for being a scam artist.
Well, we don't know why she's in jail.
Yeah, she was in the scam. For embezzlement.
Oh, that's right. You're absolutely right.
I know because I wrote it down and I made a T-shirt about it.
Who knows?
I
mean,
can't
I'm
wait.
sure it'd be like, thank you for sharing your truth with me.
A football player who probably still has money.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like this
and he has to nonprofit.
pretty aggressive girl is like, my mom's up. I bet that'd be funny if she lied and she was just like, oh, I don't really have a mother.
Blinky, 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 blinky.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have a nonprofit, which is great for scams. So don't let that mom near their nonprofit situation.
Run away,
We are
Colton.
such dicks. Like, there could be a whole reason why she's in jail, and she might be, like, atoning for her sin. I don't know.
Do you think she got? You think she didn't embezzle? Like, I think
I don't
embezzlement's the one thing you don't get set up for.
Yeah. No. I'm interested to hear about her story.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm interested, and I don't know what's going to happen, and I wonder if they're going to have it released.
What if she scammed Chris Harrison and Chris? This is
a long con?
It's a long con.
Oh, shit.
Get her back.
Listen how we're trying to make this show way more exciting than it fucking is.
We really
We're trying to make this Ozark for some reason. Yeah. So the rose ceremony happens, and a couple gals, obviously th're in the clear. So we've got Elise, Heather, and Hannah B already have roses before going into the rose ceremony.
Correct.
And then we have 16 gals that get in, and they're staying in. People are out. Alex, Angelique, Annie, and then a question mark blonde gal in a gold dress. Listen up, guys. Please put people's names that are going, because what the hell are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, people just leave, and then I'm like, this ever since the Winter Games, they're really bad at giving us all the information.
Yeah.
People will just disappear. They've never, sometimes in Winter Games, somebody like never spoke.
Yeah.
and they just were gone.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, like when they split up to the red and yellow teams, we didn't know who
Yeah,
was
especially
on.
if people have like
did you know-
brackets and shit.
You didn't see that, right? Because I missed that.
The split up, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't.
They're very unclear.
Yeah.
Listen, this show without commercials is an hour and 24 minutes long. Get your facts in there.
Get your facts
Get your
in.
facts.
Yeah.
Arg. Annoying. Annoying. Next week.
I liked how Debbie accepted her rose too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, is that?
What did she do? I don't remember.
She said something like, "I am excited to accept this rose."
Oh.
Like that. He's like, "Would you accept this rose?" I am excited
Weird.
to accept this rose.
Goofs.
I can't wait till she's just like talking to him and it's just like, I mean, I just like never had these feelings before and it just sucks because like my phone's not working and I don't know what to do. I just don't have enough money for it and I just want to talk to you and I don't know how to do. And he's like, "I'll buy you a phone." And she's like, "Will you?"
She's in it just to get that free stuff.
I think she's probably
like
taught
taking,
by her
she's taking all the
mom.
leftovers from the craft table. She's working that sneaky Pete action.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next week we got some pirate booty stuff. We've got some working out. Shocker. I don't know why there are so many.
That
working
was
out
that's gonna be
montages.
uncomfortable.
Ugh, so many stretches.
Because
Guess what? Working out is not a personality. Can we finally say that? The same thing of like, I love pizza. Pizza is not a personality, and working out is not a personality. Can we get that through everybody's
it's like
head?
a lifestyle.
It's so annoying. Like that's not a
It's a
personality.
life choice. Well, I think the thing is like it's like, oh, look up. I mean, he's a very attractive young man, and but he's not that jacked.
It's also
You think
like
he'd be more jacked?
blech, blech.
He's just like
Not
a
interesting.
football player.
It's just not interesting. I don't need to see workout montages.
Well, I hated it because like clearly they're like, "You're gonna work out in front of the girls." And he's like, "Okay," and he's doing the thing where like he knows people are looking at him, but he like doesn't want to look. But he's like,
Yeah,
they're looking at
there's
him.
the fourth wall there. Don't
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at
We're
it.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be so uncomfortable.
It's going to be super uncomfortable and boring. And the Easter egg, also not that great. And I usually love Easter eggs. So Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally, I always screw up her name. Mulaney. I'm
Is it
sorry, I'm
Mulaney?
screwing up her name. They had like a
and forward.
euphemism Easter
off.
egg.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not puns and euphemisms. They're not, I guess, my favorite comedy.
I like it more when it's just like the girls having fun or the guys having fun being silly
Being
with each
silly
other.
goofs, yeah.
I rarely see that.
Yeah,
I always
same.
like I do like I think I like the seasons when we watch when they get along more when they don't. It's more fun. Same thing with The Real World when I used to watch that show.
Yeah, where they're like just having a good time, like a
Yeah.
goofy fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the original Real World San Diego was like my favorite because they had, I mean, yeah, there were fights obviously because they lived together and all that crap, but like they, for the most part, they just had so much fun together. I'd rather watch that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we did it
That's why Happy Endings was such a good show.
because they're having a goof.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah.
then the couple never fought really, and
Yeah.
they were like,
Do you watch
Right.
Future Man?
no,
One of the
I heard
gals
it's
in
good,
Happy Endings is
though. The taller blonde.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great.
yeah.
She's so funny.
Season 1 is really funny.
Really?
Future Man. I'm having a rough time with season 2. It is
Really?
not getting to the thing. It is like 3 episodes in. I'm like, come on, guys. This is
Really?
you guys, which is a bummer because I was so shocked. I loved the first episode. I'm the first season. It
Really?
was so fun.
Really?
It was so bananas. It had a lot of like 80s sci-fi, like Terminator, Back to the Future
Oh, fun.
references, and they were just having a hoot of a time. It was surprising. It was original. I really liked it.
Okay.
And season 2, I'm like, oh no.
It's kind of lost her steam a little
Yeah,
bit. I think
hopefully they'll get it
Season
back.
2 is always kind of the bad season.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Anyway, I like a good
Maybe.
fun show.
I watched You.
Did you?
I liked it.
Did you? It's a soccer one on
You
Netflix,
spit in my
right?
mouth when you did that
I'm
by
sorry.
accident.
Welcome to the program,
Yeah.
son. Puh.
Yeah. It was great.
Was it good? Yeah, I'm a little like,
It-
oh, well, I'm scared.
Did you ever watch? Why? Because it's too creepy.
Yeah,
But you
soccer
kind of
stuff.
like.
I'm like, I don't
It's
know.
weird because then you also kind of like. It's good.
Is it?
I think
Soccer stuff,
he
like,
plays it really well, and
Yeah.
then you kind of forget like, oh, this guy's a fucking nightmare. Like you forget about that.
Yeah, I'm a little. See, that's the thing. Like, I know.
Like he does a better job at that. Sorry to interrupt, but he does a better job at that than like Dexter did.
yeah,
you
the thing
feel
is,
far
like,
more than
is it the
Dexter.
thing? And I gotta watch it before I have an academic
Did you
opinion
watch
about
Gossip
it.
Girl?
No.
Okay.
No.
It has a very gossipy girl feel to it,
Yeah.
but but much darker.
Yeah, and see, I like.
And that dude was in Gossip Girl, and he said this is basically a continuation of.
Is it
his character in there.
glamorizing things? Here's the thing about stalking, right? It is an actual problem. Like
It's a problem.
It's a problem. People think it's not that big of a deal. It is
Yeah.
very difficult to get stalkers out of your lives, especially, and it's mostly women. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I had like my dad. We had to get a restraining order on my dad. It was bad news. Like the cops don't help you out. Like it is
Right.
bad. So when it's like, I don't. And again, I never watched it, so I can't really say. My fear is that it's going to kind of like not glamorize it, but like humanize him. And I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually a fucking problem that nobody can figure out. So to like, I don't know. And again, I haven't watched it, so I can't have a point about it.
I don't know how many.
I mean?
I don't know how to answer that because like, it's weird because it will kind of fuck with you a little bit where you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to like this guy.
Yeah,
but like, I kind of do. And
how
then also like,
responsible is that though? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and again, I haven't seen it. So you know when you see on people on Twitter and they're like fighting about a show that they never watched.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person
Yeah.
because like I did not watch it yet. But that is my fear.
Yeah, because at first you're like, this guy's pretty fucked up, and then and it's just about like how some people are just like those stalker types are just like they just think they're just doing it for love.
Yeah.
You know.
And like, do they give the perspective of the female? So that's another thing. It's like, I don't need to see the perspective of this stalker. Like, we've already seen the male gaze all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what about her? Like, that's another reason I have a problem with true crime. Listen, I do think it's fascinating, and I do watch it, and I do get sucked in. But at the end of the day, like, usually there's a like a lady who's dead in a ditch.
Yeah.
And nobody really focuses on her. They're like focusing on the glamour of what happened. And I'm like, it makes me so uncomfortable. And I know that makes me a fucking bore, but like, I can't separate myself from it. So it's not like fun.
I don't know, Kels. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try it and let you know.
I also don't want to give out too much
Okay.
for our listeners or for you.
Yeah.
But I would say it's good. I think it's acted pretty well, but it has a Gossip Girl kind of like, there's almost like comedic beats to it.
Yeah.
There is comedic beats to it.
Well, I'm sure we can agree on one thing. It's probably better than The Bachelor up top.
No, I'm not up top. No, I'm like, ow.
I'm trying to high five you, but I end up just slapping
me the
you.
nerds.
Nerd slap.
Yeah. It's probably, yeah.
Well, let's get out of here with the bye.
Yeah. I like it. It's probably better than the show that I spend every week on.
You know, torture.
I think next week, well, just know that no matter what, we're going to see him hurdle over a fence and run away.
I know that is true. Although you know that's going to be, I don't even want to. I don't want to think about how they're baiting. And
you know what? They've never let me down before.
Jonah.
They're never going to let me down again.
Jonah can't learn a lesson. Jonah Jurkens.
I learned enough lessons.
All right, let's get out of here.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, let's stop this. Boop.
There's a regular Houdini.
Is that how you say it?
Houdini.
Houdini?
Yeah.
How do you say what are we? Starts with an H.
Huh?
What are we? Starts with an H.
What are we? Friends?
We're not friends. Can you say human?
Huh? Humans.
Humans.
Humans. Humans.
What about, what's another word for spices or things that grow in your garden?
Accoutrement.
What are you talking about? Why don't you know regular H words?